God morgon och välkommen till en förinspelad frukostklubb. Ja, det handlar ju såklart om kriget mot Iran, alltså Israel och USAs attack mot Iran. Och jag har 2 videos som handlar om det. Jag ska börja med den första här.
A couple of known characteristics of sociopaths and psychopaths is that they lack compassion and the ability to empathize with the situations of others and the lives of others. Imagine this was your neighborhood and you saw one of these objects fall from the sky and strike a school in your community, a school filled with about 160 school children. And imagine the damage was so bad that it took rescue workers days to dig the bodies out of the rubble. Pieces of arms, legs, teeth, heads. And imagine that the leader of the military from the country who struck your school said he doesn't know anything about it.
Report shows a new report says that the military investigation has found that the United States struck the school in Iran. As Commander-in-Chief, you take responsibility for that.
That is what?
As Commander-in-Chief, do you...
For what?
For the strike on the school in Iran. A new report says the military investigation has found it was the United States that struck the school.
I don't know about that.
Are you buying that?
Såklart han inte tar ansvar för någonting. Han fattar ingenting. Jag vet ingenting om det. Såklart han vet. Han är mycket väl medveten om vilket brott de har gjort genom att bomba den här skolan. Och sen skylla på att det var Iran som har gjort det. Alltså, den jäveln borde ju... Ja, det finns något som heter galge. Men jag ska inte säga högt vad jag tänker. Men där borde ju både han och Netanyahu dingla om det fanns någon rättvisa här på jorden.
With all the intelligence he has at his disposal, do you really believe that Donald Trump doesn't know anything about a Tomahawk missile that bombed and killed a school full of kids? Hey, Carolyn, don't hide behind the sunglasses. Don't you have kids? Doesn't this stir up compassion and anger within you? Have you lost your humanity? How have you gotten to the point where loyalty to Trump is somehow more important than standing up for bombed children? And yes, apparently it was confirmed that this is a Raytheon constructed Tomahawk cruise missile. But the Tomahawk isn't just any missile. It's a precision guided missile that requires a high level of authorization and special clearance. And each launch cost the American tax cattle about $2 million. So when they launch these things, they're very careful about where they go. But don't just take my word for it.
As a former Navy officer who was on ships that did have Tomahawks, I was on guided missile destroyers, which do carry Tomahawks. Tomahawks can only be launched from ships, and right now it's destroyers in the U.S. Navy, and from submarines. Submarines can launch it. Aircraft cannot launch Tomahawks. And despite what that guy says, they are not a common missile. They are not a generic missile. They are only approved to be sold to the UK and Australia and us. That's it. Nobody else has Tomahawks. You can't just launch a Tomahawk from like some kind of rocket launcher. Like you have to have a special computer systems, the Tomahawk weapon system. You have to have special launchers. Like it's not just like something you can just like put into like anything and just launch it. Another thing about Tomahawks is that you can launch it from very far away and you can program its path. So you can make it come so it's off center. So you are way far at sea, you launch it, you set it on a path so it can come in so doesn't get picked up on their radars until it's...
Now, depending on the wind, depending on the location, depending on the temperature, these Tomahawk missiles have a range of 750 to 1,500 miles.
At a way different angle so they can't tell where it's coming from. So it could look like it's coming from any direction. That's one of the special things about Tomahawk. It's a pre-planned flight. It has a flight path that is set into it. It's a very high-tech weapon. It is like the bread and butter of the land attack missiles. It is meant to come from the sea, from a ship or a submarine, and attack land. That's what it's designed for. And another thing is that the targets and the paths are not chosen by the CO of the ship. They are strategic, which means it is above the head of the captain of that ship, which means it's put in there strategically, which means the endpoint may not even be known to the person who launches it, but it is set by somebody at a very high level. Very strategic locations that are pre-planned. This is like the missile going into a window with such precision that you remember from like the Gulf War and those images, that's a Tomahawk. It's extremely precise, and it's GPS down to to a meter.
Just a minor correction here. The reported consistent accuracy of a BGM-109, which is what a Tomahawk missile is reported at 10 meters or about 32 feet. Consistently, it gets better than that, but on the average, it's about 32 feet or 10 meters. But when you're launching a 1,000-pound projectile from the sea about 900 miles away, at 32 feet is very, very accurate.
And it's GPS controlled. So this is not some whoopsie daisy when you hear it's a Tomahawk. And what it definitely is not is generic.
Now let's take a look at footage of this missile hitting this school.
Ja, antagligen troligtvis så blev den här avfyrad från hangarfartyget Abraham Lincoln. Och jag skulle bli jätteglad den dagen det här jävla skeppet ligger på botten av Persiska viken. För att det finns ingen försvar för det här. Och att de är så programmerade att de träffar mål inom, ja hon sa 1 meter men han sa upp till 10 meter. Men det spelar ingen roll om det är 10 meter så var det ju riktat mot den här skolan. Det var ingen misstag. Det här var planerat. Mord av barn. Hemskt.
Tonight, this new video geolocated and verified by NBC News shows what experts say is a U.S. Tomahawk missile over the skies of Manab, Iran, adding evidence, the experts say, that an American missile likely hit the Shajre Taibeh Elementary School during the first hours of U.S.-Israeli operations on February 28th.
I mean, look at this school. I don't know if this is the school or this is the school. And remember, we're looking at these reports through fake stream, CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra media. Iran state-run media also has a hand in any images that come out of the country. So you got to take everything with a grain of salt. But if it's true that a Tomahawk missile, and nobody's denying it on the U.S. side, that a Tomahawk missile dropped onto a school filled with 150, 160 schoolgirls. And this is just a tragedy that we know about. You got to wonder how dark and how evil this whole thing is and how many people are actually dying.
Iranian officials say the airstrikes, which also hit a neighboring Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps compound, once home to a military base, killed more than 170 people, mostly children.
The Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries. That's being investigated right now.
Weapons expert Jeffrey Lewis says this new video is clear.
Oh, I think the munition that is visible in that video is clearly a Tomahawk. It's long, cylindrical, it has a set of wings, and really no other country in this conflict has a munition that looks like that.
NBC News spoke with 4 other weapons experts who agree the video, which was published on Iranian state media, shows a U.S. Tomahawk. The U.S. military has publicly said Tomahawks were launched in the first hours of the war, even releasing this video. Over the weekend, a reporter asked President Trump if the U.S. was responsible.
No, in my opinion.
Här står han och ljuger då och påstår att det är Iran som har skjutit den här Tomahawk-missilen. Men vad jag har hört så är det bara USA och 2 andra länder som har de här Tomahawk-missilerna. Och de andra 2 det är Australien och England. Iran har inte haft någon möjlighet att köpa in den här missilen.
Based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
Today,
But later, he says he doesn't even know about it.
Military investigation has found it was the United States that struck the school.
I don't know about it.
Today, NBC News spoke on the phone with a father who said his 8-year-old daughter Zahra was killed in the strikes. There is no crime greater than this, he said, that so many children, boys and girls, innocent little ones, were torn apart.
Are you going to tell me that this kind of military action won't radicalize the most loving parent? And getting back to my initial question I asked at the beginning of this video, how would you feel if one of your kids got bombed by a foreign country? Wouldn't you see it as an act of war? Wouldn't you seek some kind of revenge? According to the report, witnesses said children were trapped under the rubble and, quote, people were pulling out children's arms and legs. People were pulling out severed heads. And there's way more damage that Israeli and American forces are inflicting on Iran. They're bombing refineries, and oil and clouds of fiery orange smoke are going up into the atmosphere, causing it to rain toxins down on all the Iranian people, millions of Iranians. Do you think that's going to cause these Iranian people to bow down and worship at the feet of Israel and America? You think they're happy that their water supply, their food supply is being cut off and acid rain is falling from the skies? I'm sure a lot of Iranians have the same outlook as this little Palestinian girl. Check out what she says here. I'm not afraid of these cowards. They're like mice, despite their great weapons. They still hide behind their tanks, afraid of civilians like us. Their cowardice is legendary. We are not afraid of them no matter what they do. Their bombs came down on us like water because they're losers and cowards. If this is all legit, all you got to do is look into their eyes to realize they've been radicalized. And who radicalized them? American and Israeli warmongers, psychopaths, and cowards. Now, I'm not on Iran's side. I'm not on the United States side or Israel's side. I'm on the side of doing what is right. And I don't see this as doing what is right, creating friends throughout the world, or fostering good trade relations. And it's definitely not making America great again as Americans get poorer. This is a schoolyard bully taking the big stick in his hands and beating everybody on the playground with it for the other schoolyard bully who happens to be jerking Trump's chain. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Thought Police in the comment section below. If you like these videos, give this video a like, share it with everybody you know, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, and if you want, become a channel member. But more importantly, realize that the safety and security and peace of the people will always be the alibi of tyrants. I'll see you in the next video.
Och så har jag en video från överstelöjtnant Daniel Davis också. Han är ju en av många före detta officerare i USA som är kloka. Ja, typ Scott Ritter, och heter han Douglas McGregor och jag har inte namnen på allihopa, men det finns några fler som har videos och egna plattformar. Men nu kör jag igång den här videon med Daniel Davis.
I cannot believe I am making this video now. I cannot believe that I have to report what follows here.
Is that a great name? Well, it's only good if you win. You know, you can only, and we've won. Let me say, we've won. You know, you never like to say too early you won. We won. We won the bet. In the first hour, it was over. But we won. But they gave me a list of names at general. Sir, you can pick the name you'd like, sir. I said, the name of what? The name of the attack on Iran, sir. And they gave me like 20 names. And I'm like falling asleep. I didn't like any of them. Then I see Epic Fury. I said, I like that name. I like that name.
I think this was an epic fail. Absolutely incredible. This is on day 12. There is no end in sight to this whatsoever. The Strait of Hormuz is still shut down. Oil prices continue to stay high. Gasoline prices continue to stay high. You have 7 dead Americans, at least 140 officially listed as wounded. Probably a lot more than that. That's all that's being listed so far. We just lost
Ja, alltså han är ju en skrävlare och lögnhals med ett sånt uppblåst ego. Det är helt otroligt. Vi har vunnit. Vi vann efter dag 1. Ja du, de orden ska du få checka upp, lilla Donny. Och det var ju samma sak att han skulle ju avsluta kriget mot Ukraina på 24 timmar. Det var bara att lyfta på telefonluren och ringa Putin. Nej, den här Donald Trump, han har nog satt sin sista potatis, tror jag.
Lost a $1.1 billion radar array. Half of our THAAD systems have been taken offline. We're now having to bring them in from other countries around the world. We're having to take interceptor missiles back from some of our allies. Say we need them here. Our allies in the region are running out. Some may be out within days. And they're already upset because we're prioritizing Israel, and we're taking it. We're basically preventing our other allies from defending themselves. Not that those missiles by themselves were that effective anyway. And you also have the issue that our own interceptor inventory is dwindling. Thousands of these things have been used. Our total annual production rate is 650, and we've gone through thousands, plural, in 12 days. And no one knows how many we started with, but that number is now a lot less, and there's no end in sight for it. You've had 17 U.S. bases and sites throughout the Middle East have been attacked, 17 different ones. You've had 10 different allied countries to the United States attacked by Iran as a result of this war of choice that the president started. Israel has suffered huge attacks. Hezbollah, who, for all intents and purposes, was declared a dead man walking. They were done. They had just been obliterated by Israel, and they were no longer a factor. The Houthis were no longer a factor. Hezbollah, Hamas, no longer a factor. And yet tonight, just hours ago, at least 2 waves of missiles and rockets came in from Lebanon against Israel to go along with what's coming in from Iran in the north as well. And this is what we want to call a war has succeeded. We've won. First ours, said he. I mean, this image here is just indelibly printed in America's imagery. This will never outlive George Bush. I mean, this will always outlive him, rather. He'll never live this down. And President Trump going out there today, and now he's talking about, he's bragging about how he came up with the name. That's what you're focusing on? 7 dead Americans, 140 wounded so far. The war absolutely wide open. You cannot open the Strait of Hormuz, no matter what he's tried to do, no matter how much punishment he's listed on the Iranians. We still don't have the thing open. He still hasn't solved that. Everything is open-ended. He said that we're going to just have a regime change. We're going to destroy their ability to run their country. They're still there. He said, we're going to destroy their Navy. We have damaged it, definitely haven't destroyed it. They definitely have. They've shown videos where they have in underground bunkers where they have a lot of speedboats, which can be brought out when at a time of their choosing, when it would be most decidedly inconvenient for us. They have those. We said that the IRGC has to be destroyed. They're still very much effective. The Basij, we have hit a lot of those, but there's 500,000 of them, folks. You're not going to destroy it just from the air. And we're already running low on inventory. And of course, the nuclear program, this 400 and some odd kilograms of reprocessed material that can be turned into 11 bombs, according to what Steve Witkoff said, according to what the president has announced, according to what Ted Postal said on our show in July of last year. So no shock on there. All those things are still outstanding. What have you won? See, this is the problem. When you don't really know what your objectives are, you don't know what you want to achieve, and you don't know what the ways and means are. You're supposed to start off with, here's the objective. And then you say, all right, this is what I want to accomplish. What are my resources? What do I have at my disposal? What is the methods I'm going to use to accomplish that? Do I have enough resources to get there? And what is the process to do it? Do I have the personnel? Do I have the trained personnel? Do I have enough of them? Do I have the logistics capabilities? All these things are supposed to be done in the initial planning stage, in the initial concept stage. Even way before a decision point comes up, you're supposed to be able to do that. And then, of course, there's a ton of other things that go along with it. But here we are, 12 days into this war.
Ja, Trump är ju helt impulsstyrd och han ändrar ju sig efter sista personen när han pratar med, och han är ju väldigt styrd av Fox News. Så att det här Hormuzsundet har ju Iran minerat. Det är de som bestämmer vilka fartyg som de släpper igenom. Och Trump tror att han med sin flotta ska kunna eskortera ut tankfartyg genom sundet. Det kan han bara drömma om, det kommer inte funka. De kommer sänkas av Irans minor om han försöker.
President Trump just declares victory. There is no victory here, folks. We have not won. We didn't win anything in the first hour. You can say we took out the Ayatollah in the first hour. Great. That's the one guy who's been saying there will be no nuclear weapon. I have a fatwa against it, and he resisted all the pressure. You've taken him out. The guy that's in charge now, you killed his father, his mother, his wife, at least one of his children, a grandchild. On top of all the other losses that they've suffered. That's the guy that's in charge now. How amenable do you think he's going to be to just doing whatever you want and to be supplicant in your hand? Well, not very much. And in fact, he's probably going to have a pretty high price to have a negotiated end right now, and he's going to fight like the devil. And he is not going to give up just because you bombed him a bunch of times. They're immune, maybe not immune to it, but they are definitely prepared mentally for suffering because they've got lots of experience. They have been abused by Israel and the United States for all these years. We talk so much, and Trump does, about all these allegations that they have been at war with us for 47 years, and they have been trying to attack us and all this, when the reality is virtually everything they has done has been in retaliation, in response to what we've done. Not that they're doing it to us and we're retaliating. It's the other way around. And so they have been significantly hit. We've assassinated their leaders. We've blown up their embassies. We've done all kinds of stuff along with Israel. They're not going to give up easily. They're going to endure a lot of this. And we now don't have an end in mind. We don't have a way to get it done, and we don't have the means to keep going here. So you're either going to have to do something completely different. You're going to have to escalate in ways that are irrational and illogical, like, say, we're going to have a ground invasion now, which would be almost certain to fail. And I could go through all the reasons why, and I will if that ever comes into a play. You can do something even worse, like saying we're going to use a tactical nuclear weapon, because that's the only thing that you can do that's quick and easy, because we're always looking for the quick and easy way out. That's one of the things I really worry about. There is no easy way out here. And you just claiming in front of a bunch of cheering people here that we've won. I mean, that works while you're standing there in front of the microphone and the cameras, but it's not going to fly very much longer. And
ja, det var ju inte direkt smart att ta död på Ayatollah Khamenei, för att nu är ju hans son jävligt förbannad efter att stora delar av hans familj blev dödade under den bombningen. Så att Iran kommer ju aldrig att ge sig. De kommer ge USA och Israel så jävla mycket stryk så att de ångrar sig 7 gånger om att de startar det här överhuvudtaget. De har tagit sig vatten över huvudet.
Especially those who have lost these loved ones, they're not going to be cool with that either. I assure you, none of them feel like that we've won. And when they see we don't have a plan to even get out of this, and things are going to continue to get better, and now pretty soon all Americans are going to start feeling this at the pump, at the grocery store, everywhere they buy anything, because everything, the price of it all is going to start going up if we don't get that straight opened up. And we're not going to get that straight opened up unless we do something that makes some sense, because we can't force it, because we have now plunged ourselves into this war of choice that does not have any good outcomes. It does not have any good off-ramps. Those don't exist. That's the problem. President Trump has plunged himself into something where there are no easy off-ramps this time. And you just declaring victory and walking away isn't going to work, because the Iranians now have the leverage over us because we handed it to them. This is a very serious situation here, folks. And this is not going to go away anytime soon. Anyway, just wanted to bring that to your attention today. A very different situation than we normally have. It's kind of a short one here, but that's kind of where we are. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you very, very soon on the next episode of the Daniel Davis Deep Dive.
Ops, jag mutade mikrofonen. Nu ska jag läsa ett par artiklar också. Jag ska börja med Samnytt. Och den heter, artikeln heter Sverige med och fixar nödlösning till Ukraina på 321 miljarder kronor. Ungern och Slovakien blockerar det enorma lånet på 963 miljarder kronor till Ukraina på grund av en dispyt mellan länderna. Konflikten handlar bland annat om ett stopp i oljeflödet från Ryssland som går via Ukraina till dessa länder. Samtidigt hävdar tidningen Politico att de nordiska och baltiska EU-länderna arbetat fram en nödlösning för att själva skicka pengar till Ukraina. Ett paket på omkring 321 miljarder kronor från skattebetalarna i dessa länder uppges vara aktuellt. Pengarna ska täcka en del av det uteblivna lånet och därmed säkerställa att Ukrainas behov kan mötas under de kommande månaderna. Det ursprungliga lånet var annars tänkt så att EUs medlemsländer främst skulle gå i god för lånet och stå för räntan. Nu är det oklart hur risktagandet kommer att fördelas. Redan idag räknas Sverige som en av Ukrainas största givare i förhållande till sin ekonomiska kapacitet. Fram till mitten av februari uppgick stödet till 128 miljarder kronor sedan Rysslands invasion våren 2022, enligt regeringens hemsida. Flera ytterligare miljarder är redan beslutade och ska skickas iväg i olika satsningar, vilket väntas föra det totala stödet till omkring 180 miljarder kronor. Samtidigt har Sveriges politiker meddelat att det finns inte något tak för stödet och att det kommer att fortsätta på obestämd tid. På onsdagen rapporterar tidningen Politico att de nordiska och baltiska EU-länderna står redo med ett paket från skattebetalarna som ska kunna täcka Ukrainas behov under första halvåret. Det rör sig om cirka 321 miljarder kronor som då skulle vara aktuellt att skickas som en alternativ finansieringsplan. Mot bakgrund av att Sverige redan har tagit ledartröjan när det gäller stödet till Ukraina är det sannolikt att den svenska regeringen också deltar i samtalen med övriga nordiska och baltiska länder om pengarna. Det alternativa upplägget ska säkerställa att Ukraina kan fortsätta finansiera sin ekonomi, men det räcker bara under de kommande månaderna. Det framgår av medierapporteringen att om inte Ukraina får miljarderna kommer landet att stå utan tillräckliga medel redan i början av april. Vissa baltiska och nordiska länder har en plan för att ge Ukraina tillräckligt med pengar för att hålla landet flytande under första halvåret i år. Så uppger de 2 EU-diplomater som är insatta i diskussionerna. De fick vara anonyma för att kunna tala fritt om de känsliga förhandlingarna, liksom andra som nämns i den här artikeln. Samtidigt kan Ukraina möjligen klara sig fram till maj genom utbetalningar från internationella valutafonden som täcker akuta kostnader. Därefter riskerar landet att stå utan medel om inte pengar från EU skickas in. Bråk om rysk olja till EU. Bakgrunden till situationen är att det enorma lånet på 963 miljarder kronor plus ränta som kommissionsordförande urusla von der Leyen har drivit fram nu fastnat. I december enades visserligen medlemsländer om att pengarna skulle skickas till Ukraina genom att ta ett lån efter att EU konstaterat att man inte kan använda frysta ryska tillgångar. Men nu säger Ungern och Slovakien nej. De kräver att Ukraina säkerställer att den ryska oljan som transporteras via ledningar genom landet fortsätter att flöda. Enligt Ungern ägnar sig Ukraina åt medvetet sabotage genom att strypa oljeflödet och antyder att president Zelensky på detta sätt blandar sig i det pågående valet i Ungern. Ukraina menar däremot att ledningarna skadas efter ett ryskt anfall mot området där den ryska oljan transporteras till EU. Samtidigt har det från Ukrains sida betonats att reparationerna kan vara klara inom 6 veckor. Kristersson lovar täcka Ukrainas behov. Ytterligare en faktor som gör det sannolikt att Sverige deltar i samtalen med de nordiska grannländerna och de baltiska länderna är att den svenska regeringen utöver att vara en av de största givarna till Ukraina också nyligen har gått i god för att täcka Ukrainas kostnader. Och i oktober förra året meddelade EU-kommissionens ordförande urusla von der Leyen och statsminister Ulf Kristersson att EU och Sverige är beredda att täcka alla Ukrainas ekonomiska behov, både militära och budgetmässiga, så länge som det behövs. Vi tittar på Ukrainas ekonomiska behov för åren 2026 och 2027. Och jag är väldigt glad och tacksam för att Europeiska rådet åtagit sig att täcka de ekonomiska behoven för Ukraina för åren 2026 och 2027. Med militära behov och om så krävs med budgetbehov, meddelade urusla von der Leyen. Vidare tydliggjorde EU-ledaren att unionen är beredd att täcka Ukrainas ekonomiska behov. Det grundläggande budskapet är väldigt tydligt mot Ryssland. Vi är långsiktigt engagerade i detta. Vi är beredda att täcka Ukrainas ekonomiska behov. Så vi stöder Ukraina så länge som behövs, sa hon. Och fick medhåll från Sveriges statsminister Kristersson. Jag håller helt klart med, utbrast han efter von der Leyens uttalande. Det är klart, han bara jamsar med. Och jag har en artikel från några dagar sedan från Jenny Piper. 2 genvaccin för att effektivisera. För de invånare som varit duktiga och tagit sina covid-vaccinsprutor regelbundet sedan massvaccineringen började 2020 och kombinerat det med influensavaccin kan det säkert bli lite jobbigt att hålla reda på när man ska ta sina påfyllnadsdoser. Därför kommer nog dagens nyhet om att Europeiska läkemedelsmyndigheten har gett grönt ljus till ett nytt vaccin där skydd mot influensa och covid-19 ryms i samma spruta. Mottagas positivt av många eftersom man effektiviserar bort ett vårdbesök. Det nya kombivaccinet är godkänt för personer som är 50 år eller äldre och välkomnas av såväl svenska myndigheter som experter, precis som man gjort från dag 1 när de oprövade mRNA-baserade vaccinerna introducerades för allmänheten utan ett ord om vilka risker man utsatte befolkningen för. Det som är fascinerande är att man i Sverige fortsätter förespråka vaccinering mot covid trots de många varningar från läkare och forskare som kommer fram genom åren samt studier som påvisat allvarliga biverkningar och följdsjukdomar med kopplingar till mRNA-vaccin. I vissa länder har man till och med vidtagit kraftiga åtgärder för att stoppa användningen och köpen av mRNA-vaccin. Men i Sverige fortsätter man presentera det som något positivt som hjälper människor. Nu dessutom som en kombiprodukt alla 2 i 1. Det viktigaste är trots allt inte människors hälsa utan att kratta manegen för Big Pharmas fortsatta profitering. Ja, vår socialminister Forssmed, han sa ju att vaccinet, det var ju så underbart och vackert. Det var ju något av det vackraste som fanns. Ja. Ja, det var allt vad jag hade att komma med och jag hoppas alla får en god fortsättning på dagen. Och sen kommer jag igen imorgon med ytterligare en ny förinspelad frukostklubb. Hej!